Hi everyone. So I have had a few requests to do a video tutorial on my side shaker card. And this, I'll show you how it opens up. It's a 5x7 card. Shaker on the side, so that is all open on the side there. Probably making you dizzy, right? And you stamped underneath the shaker element, and then on top we've got layered flowers and an embossed background. We've got some accents here. This one is done with the Hibiscus Garden 3D set, layering die set from Altenew. This whole tutorial is going to feature those again. I'm going to do those again. The first one I made was with the climber flower layering die set, also from Altenew. These are my favorite. I just love these. Look at that. It's the same exact design, same stamping and everything, just of course different colors. These, I just wanted to play with what different types of watercolor would do on different types of cardstock. So that's why these have darker colors and tones in there. I just said, you know what the heck, let's try it out. I really haven't had a lot of time to play with my watercolors, so, you know, you gotta experiment sometimes. But I liked this one. It's shimmery, it's pretty, it's pink. It's all my favorite things, pink and gold. So that is what I'm going to show you today. Now, this is going to be a two-part video tutorial because I don't know how long my phone will let me record, and this could be a very long process. So the first part of this tutorial is going to be how we create the paper that we're going to cut all of our dies from and then assemble the flowers. The second part will be a video on the actual construction of the card. So let me zoom in for you. I have here on my desk is a, let's see what size is this, 9x12 Canson watercolor 140 pound cold press watercolor cardstock. So this is my first time trying this cardstock. I like it. I don't know if there's better ones out there. You know, use what you want to use, but this is what I'm using and I like it. So there you go. I have it on my glass craft mat. Generally when I am watercoloring, I will prep the cardstock ahead of time, meaning I will tape it down to a board, get it wet with water, let it dry so the fibers are all stretched out. I'm not worried about that in this application because applying the watercolor to the raw surface of the cardstock the cardstock is going to soak up the pigments more. It'll give us a little better color, a little bolder color, and it really makes, you can tell the difference. It just feels different once they're finished. So we're going to apply the watercolor straight to unprepped watercolor cardstock. I have two sizes of brushes. I am using the watercolor brushes from Altenew. I've got the number 18 flat brush and the number 4. This might be from the detailed brush set. Two different sizes because you're going to want different variations of hues in the colors that we apply. I have water off to the side. This is a little jar in a jar. A little jar in a little jar. I like doing that because with watercolor, you don't really use a lot of water. And this way I can keep the light in the light and the dark in the dark when I dip my brushes. So I do have a little palette, extra palette, just in case. I have some extra shimmer watercolor. And of course, some paper towel. Here we go. Now let's look at the paints. Now, Altenew has 3 different watercolor pan sets. The first one I will show you is the basic watercolor pan set. Very good, very cool. Very wide, big pans. So if you are really into making wide abstracts or mixed media, these are awesome. Love these for that. Yes, I have one of each of the sets because I am that crazy of a painter. The second one, the one I'm going to use tonight, is the Artist's watercolor pan set. It opens like this. Look at all those beautiful colors. They do come out if you want to pop them out. I don't. I don't know where I'd put them. So they're safe and happy in their home. So we're going to use that. And then once we apply the color from that set, we're going to be using the Metallics Watercolor Pan Set. And this is how we're going to add, oops, there goes the light. This is how we're going to add that shimmer, a nice light shimmer to the flowers and the color to the accent leaves. So that is what we are using tonight. Let's start with the coloring. Now I wanted, okay, we're gonna keep hitting that light. There we go. It's a touch light. Sorry guys. I wanted this not exactly in a rainbow ombre pattern, the colors coming around, but I wanted to start darker pink in the middle and kind of go lighter from the top up and from the middle down. So there's 3 large flowers. The darkest pink one, there's a lighter pink with accents, and then there's a mid-grade pink with accents. And then all these little flowers are just random light colors. And that's just to fill in around the shaker element. So, however you imagine your finished product is how you're going to want to paint your cardstock. Now these had absolutely no pattern. These were just, I slapped down some paint, cut them out with the die set, and just glued them together and had fun with it. So let me show you how to do the gradiated colors like this. Let's start with some water. So get yourself a little mister. And I thought this was just being extra, but honestly, and I have been painting my entire life and I never really thought of it this way. But if you spritz the water directly into your palette, then you don't waste all the water. You're not scrubbing your brush in there to get the water to activate the pigments. We're just going to spray that in there and let it sit for a minute and do its thing. And all I'm using right here is from the reds, the pinks, and the oranges, and the yellows. You can see up here where I used it from when I made the last card. So I know they look really, really bright, but we're going to water them down so they come out this light, okay? Dip your brush in water so that it is just, let me see if I can pull it in, yep. I dip it in just to get the bristles wet because they haven't been used in a little while. All right, but remember, we are going to actually saturate. I guess you could call it saturating. So the first thing we're going to do, you want to test the brightness of your colors. We're going to start here at this color, which is Cherry Blossom. And I'm just tapping it with my brush, and I'm putting it here on the palette to see how dark that color is. Now I will dip my brush back in the water and get that even more wet. And I'm going to do it again. We want these really light colors. These watercolor paints are really great because even if you lighten them up, they still will retain their pigment. So you'll have a really vibrant light pink or a really dark pink if you don't water it down. Now I am going to ombre the paper. So I'm going to start at the top and just put that on like that. Then I'm going to go back and get some more. Now I'm going to go to my water and water that out on the edges. You're going to end up using a whole sheet of cardstock. Trust me, just color your whole sheet of cardstock. Now, I did not make it really, really pretty blended. I just slapped it on because those differences that you see there, those variations in color, are going to help give your finished flowers the depth. So next we're going to test the red next to it, see if that's one we want to add. That one's really, really super bright. I don't know if we're going to add that one. I don't remember if I added that one, so I'm going to hold off on that color. Let's go to Red Cosmos is next. Yep, I think we did red cosmos. So because my palette is pretty full with the oranges there, I'm going to go over to my extra palette and see this little well right here. There's my red cosmos. So, and this paint reactivates really, really well also. So I'm going to pick up some paint, put it, and these wells are great for doing full color washes because you can just fill them up with water and get that all nice and liquidy. They're really, really nice and deep. And we're going to spread that on. And then where they're meeting, wash it out. Okay, so we're getting different shades of our pinks happening. Next, we are going to move over to some orangish colors. And see, I'm testing it there. Now, I could also bring that color I just tested and put it in here. Get that watered down a little more. Let's see what that looks like. You're really, I don't think you're ever going to be guaranteed totally to get the same color like twice. So see how I started here with the yellow and I'm dragging it across into those pinks. That's going to give me this pale orange color. See that right there? That's where we're getting that from. So I'll do that on this side also. Apply that orange and then just run it right into that pink we did. Okay, so we've got our pinks, orange, yellows. Now we didn't do any greens. So what I'm going to actually do is come down to the bottom and I'm going to do a section of very, 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 very light pink. And then we're going to move over to the metallics. We're going to do a section of just the metallic white, I think it is. So I'm going to go back to the cherry blossom and get that one really, really, really saturated. So we're going to use the middle well here and really get that wet. That's like basically all water, but that is fine. So let's do this section since apparently I already stuck my finger in that. Okay, so just get it on there, and we're going to stop right before we hit that yellow because all we're going to use this section for is those really, really, really light flowers and maybe a couple layers on the bigger flowers. Actually, I did really good with the big brush. I didn't need the little brush at all, but what you can do with the little brush, you can see how it's starting to dry, how we're getting those different shades in there. The little brush, if you wanted to get more depth into your wash, that's what you would use the little brush for, to just come in and add smaller streaks. And that will give you just a little darker because it's got less surface area on that brush. So it's giving you more concentrated color with a smaller brush. All right, so now that was it. Ooh, I don't want to put that. That's a little drippy, so I'm not going to put that, fold that and shut that yet. We'll put that off to the side. And we will move our little palette and bring out the metallics. So let's look at the metallics. Now you got to be careful with the metallics. They are all amazing, but they are very, 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 very pigmented, believe it or not. So we want the very, very, very lightest color that we can achieve. So we're going to do the same thing by spritzing our water into the wells, and I'm only going to start. They are labeled with their names on them, I believe, but I don't want to take them out and look at the names, so you just have to trust me that they're super cool. Okay. And again, we're going to take the wide brush, and this is where my double well comes in. See that red water around the edge? If you're going to use the the metallic watercolors, if you only have one well of water, do them last or constantly change your water, because the metallic pigments in these watercolors will settle and stay in your water bowl for life if you don't constantly change it. So I like having the second well, so I can just use this completely for this project using the metallics. Yep, I figured that out the hard way, you guys. Remember, I've done all this before, so that's why I'm doing it this way now. So we are going to start with this color here. It's a pinkish. Okay, I'm going to put that there. Now, it doesn't look like a lot. Look, it looks like there's nothing there, but there's pigment there, trust me. I'm going to pick up some more. Okay. Oh. There, we're getting there. Now I'm going to move over to my just the plain white. And it's not really plain white if you want to see. It actually does have a color to it. It has like a very, very eggshell color, I guess you could say. Very, very subtle color. So I'm only going to mix a little bit of that pink into what I put there. And you'll see it come right out. And yes, I am covering over. We're going to end up covering over all of these, so I'm not worried about it right now. But you can see how just that pink added just another shade. So it's not really a complete white iridescent. It actually does have a color to it. So I'm not only going to add it by itself here, and this is what I used for those leaves. Oops, picking up color from underneath. Whoops. We're picking up some colors from the craft mat underneath me, but that's fine. That's fine. So that straight iridescent color is what I used for the leaves, and I added just little bits of pink here and there. See that? Just a little bit of pink here and there. And then I wipe it out. And then you can go back again and do it just straight up. And since we are going to color the entire surface now with the iridescent, I'm starting again at the bottom where it's all light and working my way into the colors so I don't bring all that color down into the iridescent. And I'm not scrubbing this time, I'm laying it down. See, I'm laying it, picking up my brush, laying it, picking up my brush. And now I have to rinse my brush off before I go back into that well of white because it's going to have color from these other paints. Sorry, my nose is running. A little allergy season getting over. So up and down, up and down, up and down. And then when you need more water, you have to go dab your brush off and get that pigment off. Go back to your well and then apply again. Up and down, up and down. Pick the brush up, put it down. Pick it up, put it down, right? Okay, so we got that one. There's missed a spot there. Now we're going to do the back side here. Same thing, up and down. Pick it up, put it down. Pick it up, put it down. This is why, again, why applying the watercolor to non-treated watercolor cardstock was a good idea, because if the pigmented watercolor was just floating on the surface of the cardstock, with us going back and wiping it with this iridescent paint, we would actually be picking up the pigment as well. But because that cardstock was raw when we applied our pigmented watercolor to it, it soaked the fibers, soaked those colors pigments up immediately and like dyed the fibers of the paper. So we're not in danger of picking up any of the pigment and losing what we've already applied, which can happen if you're a watercolor person, you know what I mean. When you go over one color with another color, you can pick it up and get a white streak from the cardstock underneath. Okay, there we go. that is the magic of how we got those colors. All right, cool, yeah. These are a lot more subtle in real life. They look more vibrant on the video there, just so you know. So I'm gonna remove my water here and the paints. We made just a very little mess. Not bad. Oh, underneath the underneath the cardstock is the bigger mess, isn't it? All right. Now, this glass mat is tempered for heat. Normally, I would let this cardstock air dry. I do prefer my watercolor to air dry. But again, because we added the watercolor to raw cardstock, it actually is pretty well dry other than that top coat we just put over it. So I am going to hit it with the heat gun. Just so we can speed the process up a little bit. This video is being filmed live, so I can't edit or go back and speed anything up. You just gotta live with me. You get all the action and excitement of live video. Here we go. Keep your gun. Look at my fingers, right? 6 inches. Keep your gun about that far away from the paper. You don't want to really, really warp it. I mean, we are going to run it through our die cutting machine, which will help flatten it out. But the first layer of heating, you want to be 4 to 6 inches above your surface. Constantly moving your gun. And then when it feels dry to the touch but still damp, flip it over, heat the backside. We want to get those fibers heat all the way through and dry because we're going to run this through the die cutting machine. And if you run wet cardstock through the die cutting machine, you're going to get a spitball. It's going to get slimy and goopy and the fibers will rip and tear and you can't do the project then. So front, back, front again. We're getting there. Flip it again. And of course the important thing was clean off your mat before you start flipping this cardstock around, or you would get all the yuck and gunk from your mat onto what you just painted. Look at all the backflow we got. We are almost ready to put these into the die cutter. See how it's starting to roll. If it had been treated, it wouldn't really be doing this, but whatever, we don't really care. It's gonna all be cut up into beautiful flowers. I'm feeling it to make sure it's not too hot. Okay. So flip, flip, flip. Heat the back, heat the front. There we go. Isn't that cool? I love it. It feels so neat too. All right, so let's get to know our layering die set. Now, I keep my die sets and my stamps sets in sleeves in 3-ring binders. When I do die cutting, I get lots of leftover pieces. These are from the first one we did. See, so I had some leftover bits. Then I also had enough little pieces from the leftover cardstock I did for it that I could use for another project. So those go in there as well. And you've got this, oops, falling off here. The magnet sheet, I put that on the back. I got the magnet sheet at the hardware store. I cut that to fit my sleeves, and I put that on the back to hold all of my pieces. And then the sets come with a diagram to show you how to layer them up. Now, I suggest if you're new to layering die sets, do a practice run. Get some scratch paper, leftover paper, garbage paper, whatever. Practice cutting and piecing these together so you know how they go together before you get this pretty paper made and you destroy it because you don't know which layer was first, okay? So, do a test run with your layering die set before you do your finished project. All right, now, even once you've done multiple projects with these, you still can forget what goes where. And yes, I do. So, off to the side of my table here, I'm going to line up the dies. So, let me organize them here, and then I will show you how I know that they all go together. Those. Okay. Okay, and then we're going to use just one leaf. Oh, and we're going to use the little flowers as well. So that's why you need a whole sheet of watercolor cardstock, or multiple sheets if you have small paper pad. All right, let's look at the diagram. All right. So there's a big flower and a medium flower, and then there is a small little flower and a big little flower. Let's start with the big one. So we're going to start with the base die. Look for the base die. Okay, that was this one. So I'm going to put the base there. Then we want the middle layer die. That's this one. So I'm going to put that on this side. Then these 4 little pieces come on one die. That's those 4 little pieces, okay? So look and make sure you've got the correct one. We're looking for these shapes. And that is this one here. So those 3 are the big flower. That leaves the remaining base, flower, and accents for the middle-sized flower. Okay? Now you've got this little centerpiece that holds the stamen for the big flower. So that's that little guy. We're going to put him in that pile, and we're going to put the correct stamen. I think that's what it's called, right? The stamen. And then you've got this one and that for the medium-sized flower. For the little and big small flowers, just watch your shapes. Okay, so let's start with the little one. Okay, that's this. Put him in his pile. Oh, I mean this one. This is the base. So we're going to put him in his pile. That leaves the other base for the next flower. Then we're looking for that, which is this die. So that goes with the little flower, which means the remaining one goes with the other one. And then this, you know, as you get into the centers of the flowers, they get a little bit hard to look at. But just look really carefully and you'll be able to figure out which one is which. This is the messy one. I call it the messy one, so that goes with the big flower. And this is the cross one, so it goes with the little flower. So I keep them in these piles so that as I cut the layers, I will then put those in piles so I know which way to assemble them. That's my trick. Not really a trick, but it helps. Okay, so your die cutting machine. Whatever your sandwich is, get your sandwich ready. Mine has a magnetic cutting blade or cutting platform, which is a godsend for layering die sets. I'm not gonna lie. I have other kind. I have manual, of course, but the magnetic sheet is amazing. Now, this obviously is not going to fit on this, so we got to cut this up. So, I suggest cutting it. If you cut it where the colors end, it's kind of sad because you're going to miss that overlapping blending. So, if your card does not fit on your cutting mat, you're going to cut it through the middle and like that, so you're getting a blend on each section that you cut, because it is pretty where they overlap each other. So for like this, because I've got 3 different sections, I'm going to cut this way. Now I would rather cut along this yellow line than cut up this blended area. I want this all one piece. And by cutting it this way, I get to keep all of this blending here, which is great. Okay, so we know that we were saving this for possible accents, the smaller flowers, and the leaves. So we're going to set that aside. These are basically the same, so we're going to start with one. Oh, actually, they both fit. Cool. This is a really big plate, so I love it. Now, this is where you got to think, where do you want these in a particular style, order, dark, medium, light? How do you want them? Okay, this is where you think about that. And where you use your diagram to decide, okay, do I want the base of the big flower light, medium, and then the accents dark? Or do I want the base of the flower dark, medium, and light accents? Okay, so you gotta think about how you want the overall look of your project to be. I will do, again, the gradation color. I hope that's the right word. So I'm going to start with the base of the big flower in the darkest part of my pinks I can find. Okay, now this is bending a little bit, so I might actually, it is a little uncooperative, even on the magnetic boards. I will take some tape and just tape this down, because I really don't want these moving around. Even though these dies are magnetic, they're not heavy enough to hold the paper down on their own, because this cardstock is really heavy now and pulling itself up. So I'm taping that cardstock down to my magnetic mat. Don't need much, just enough so that stops moving around. Okay. All right, so this is going to be the base of the biggest flower. That's the darkest pink I have. Then I want his middle layer to be, I guess we'll go down into the lighter pink. And then I want his accents to be down here. Okay, so there's one big flower. Now let's do the same with this side and tape this one down, and we'll do our medium flower. These two, hopefully I can get 2 medium flowers on this sheet, and then they can both be of the same types of hues. Okay, so I want to do a base, a medium, and an accent. That is cool, because on the second pass I can do the same thing, or I can reverse it. That'd be cool. We could reverse it. So we can get 2 little flowers on this and our big one over here, and then we have these extras for accents. So let's put the little stamens for each guy over here. Take up as little space as they can. And their little center pieces. Put that one there and that one there. So we're going to need 2 center pieces for the middle flower. So the second pass, we're going to cut another one of those and a second medium flower. And in the oven it goes. All right. Now this is where you might get confused. So remember, keep your stuff in piles. Get your little pick or whatever it is tool that you use with your dies that come out. And I'm just going to try and get these out of here with leaving the cardstock down because I know I want to reuse this. So actually, let's do the spatula end. All right, so medium flower base. We're going to cut another one. Medium flower accent. Okay, keep that in its own pile. See, now we're lining them up, and we're gonna do another one. And then these little guys, these ones I might have to actually take up. These little guys. Whew. Whew. And put those in their particular pile. Okay. And we're going to do another one. So there's that. Okay. Now, let's look at our guide again, because the straight stamen goes with the large flower. This is the straight one, so we only needed one of these, so we're good. The curved one here goes with the medium flower, so we're going to need a second one of those. So let's get that prepared. So here's the first one. Put that there. And set that down again so we can get the second one. And also remember, we needed a second middle insert. We'll put that there to get another one. But our big flower, we only needed one of, so we are done with him. So we'll take his dies off. Make sure there's nothing stuck in them. And pop his parts out. It's like playing Operation. Okay, so these are the pile for the middle flower. And we're going to make a pile for the big flower. I just wanted to keep it down, but I guess I can't. It's going to make me push it all out. You can make as many flowers as you want. Maybe you want them all big, maybe you want them all medium. Doesn't matter, it's just how I'm doing it. I liked the effect. I mean, as you can see, this one, all the flowers are the same shape all the way around. This one, I started out big and made them smaller as it went around. So it's up to you. But if layering die sets make you a little fussy, which they can, no lie. Look, I just lost that piece. Then maybe you don't want as many big ones. That is fine. Just don't confuse them. All right. Isn't that pretty? Look at the colors. I love that. So pretty. Okay. Strap it down again, and we're going to cut out one more center for our other flower. We're going to do that one. Now we've got all this extra space here. So since we're cutting this again, let's do a couple of bases for the next size flowers out of these. Let's see where we can get some. We can get a big one there. That's a cool color. See, that's a cool thing about die sets is you can just fit this stuff in anywhere. And so that's a base layer. These are their medium layers. So we're just going to move down to the, you know, to the, as the color goes down. And these are their little centerpieces. So let's get those really nice and bright. All right, cool. Run it through, and basically at this point, I'm just gonna keep cutting little flower pieces until I run out of cardstock, because if I don't use them on this card, I'll use them on another. All right, so starting at the top, this was the second inside we need for our second flower. So we're done with that die. And pull out our second flower here. So now you can, if I'm making a bunch of these, I will just start stacking up bases, middle layers, inserts, and all that, and then swap them out, change the colors. But we're only doing 2 of these, so I can just let these sit here and know that the bottom goes there and the top goes there. But when I'm mass producing them, I will just start stacking them up and then pick the colors I want and mix them together. I should be using my little pokey tool, but okay, there's that one. I'm just going to keep manhandling them, apparently. You know, why not? There's that tool. Why not? There we go. There's the accents for the second flower. And then over here, uh-oh, where did the, I think I am missing the die for that. Where'd that die go? It's not this one because we already cut that one. Oh, there it is. Oh, it shot off. Oh, man. So we got to recut that. And that's the stamen for the second middle flower. I was like, oh, Lord. Please don't tell me I lost it in this. Okay. Let's see what we got for our smaller flowers. And there we go. Okay, so we're going to cut another one of those. Okay, so we've got a base for each. Now this, see, we're going to keep cutting a bunch of these. So this is where I'm just going to stack up base. Let me show you here. Because we're going to be doing many of the smaller flowers, I'm just going to stack them straight up. I'm going to do a pile of bases, bases, middles, middles, and then the accents. Okay. So the second pile and the third pile and however many more I can get out of this, I'm just going to keep stacking them on those piles because we're already done with our piles for the big ones here. Okay. All right, so we need a second stamen for the medium-sized flower. Now we will continue down, and I'm just continuing down the colors that I have remaining to see what I can get out of these before I switch over to just the iridescent color. We might be able to get 2 more. Those and those. These up here, these spaces, I'm saving for the insides of the iridescent flowers. Cookies are done. All right. So pull these bases off, put them in their pile. So that's a big base that goes on that pile. And this one goes on that pile. Yep, that's that one for there. And this one for here. Oops. Already mixed them up. Okay. Here is our second little stamen. So we're done with that die. There. Okay, now I'm going to remove one of these. Well, let's remove both of them and see what we can work out. Because now it's time to use the iridescent. Saving my tape because I might need that. That's not special washi tape or anything. That's just straight up purple painter's tape. So, because sometimes you just need something to stick really well. Okay, so we'll put those over there. Now let's bring out our iridescent. So remember on the iridescent, we have just the plain iridescent. We've got some with that rose color in it, and then we've got the pink iridescent. So yep, that's warping as well. So we're gonna tape this one down. I'm gonna tape it down to the side so I still have room to put some of that colored one we were just using if we want to. I'll show you how I did that on the card. So these flowers down here, as the flowers got further away from the center, I ended up just doing the base with the centerpiece. I omitted that middle layer just to give it some more accent. So we're going to throw in a couple layers, a couple flowers with some iridescent layer, and then we're just going to do iridescent flowers with some pink. So that little pink middles there is what we're going to use this remaining cardstock for. So, and of course, we're going to do the leaf. So I did 4 leaves. I would like to have 5. I like odd numbers, but I ran out of cardstock on the other one there. So that's why that happened. Okay, so let's get back to our little flowers. Bases. Let's do them in the colored. And then let's do their middle layers in the iridescent. Well, actually, let's see what we can fit on here. This is where you can get really creative and fun, like that. Let's put that on here. Take that down as well. There we go. And let's put their middle layers on here and get some color into it. There we go. And then we can do their third layers. Then just trim that up. And now that will fit right on here. This is why layering die sets are so cool. You cannot waste any paper with them. You can use every little scrap. Which is why I save them in their little baggie. So, because you can. All right, again with the bases. Now, we know we want more bases, so let's move them over to, let's go to the middle area. And let's take our leaf out. Get another one of those ready to go. Isn't that pretty? It's just so subtle, and you can just see a hint of that blush color. And we want to pop these out. You can't leave your die cut images in your paper and run it through the machine again because it will flatten them. And you won't have that nice a nice look that we like, you know, from the embossing. And we got 2 centers out of these. 2 pretty pink centers. This is a rainy day project. Just sit down and you don't even have to paint your cardstock. Just use colored scraps of cardstock, whatever you've got. Let's see if I can get one more out of there. I bet you I can. Look, I can. I can get one more out of that guy right there. I don't know if I can do it on this one. Oh, let's see. Oh, almost had it. Almost had it. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna go for it. Why not? Okay, cool. And then we got these central pieces here. There's that. And let's see what we can get out again. And we are going to do another middle layer. We're going to do lighter color bases. And let's do some more colored. There we go. Start with the leaf. Okay, I'm ready to go again. We got our light bases, and we're going to do more light bases. We're going to move it over. No, we're going to keep it there. I want to get 2 more leaves for sure. So we'll get those out. And I think we're pretty much done with this piece for now. Okay, we got those. And those. So now we're going to stop with the middle layers, and this is where we're going to just start doing the light bases with some colored inserts. I don't know what these are technically called in the plant world. So they're so pretty and shiny, y'all. They're like candy. Oh my gosh, I just love these. Okay, so there's that. Let's bring in another scrap. Oh, we got that one. Okay, and I'm looking for, there it is. Jeez, Pete's. Okay, we're gonna do 2 more bases. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we could do them. We'll do them right there. Okay, we got our little inserts. So now we're just moving to the flowers that are just 2 layers. Start with the leaf. I just start always, you know, one direction and just keep going down. That just helps keeps things, you know, straight in my brain. Okay. There we go. Sorry, my nose is running. If you're if you're just tuning in, it's allergy season here in mid-Michigan. We had warm weather last week, and I drowned basically in my allergy. And then it got down to 30 degrees, and we had 6 inches of snow, and pretty much all my allergy went away except for a drip. And now we're warming back up into the 70s for the next couple days. So, you know, our joke here is pure Michigan. I'm just going to keep cutting these while I keep cutting my leaves. Why not? Okay, and we'll do some more of these. This is just like the perfect leaf die. This leaf die can go anywhere for anything. Oh, love it, love it. All right, so we can get 2 more of those in there. Which means we will do 2 more of those. That color's pretty well used up though. Let's do them right here in this. Okay. All right, that is it of the cutting. Let's get these guys off of here. We have our last leaf. Maybe it's a leafette. And we've got our last 2 bases and our last 2 inserts. And we still have some awesome scraps to use for a later project. There we go. Okay, so that is it for this video. This was part 1 of the side view shaker card featuring the Altenew Hibiscus Garden 3D die set. Over on the blog, there is going to be a written tutorial for this entire card project, so that'll be the condensed version. It will also have links to this video, so if you want to write, you know, if you want the written version or you want a visual to go with it, you're going to have the option for both. So I am going to take a break and assemble all of these flowers according to my guide that comes with the 3D die set, and I will see you guys back for the next video as we assemble.